Well, hello, internet friends near and far. Welcome to another episode of Parks and Conversation. This is a podcast where we watch an episode of Parks and Rec, and then we talk about it. My name is Jason. I'm joined all the way across town by the power of the internet by my friend Jeremy. Say hello, Jeremy.
Hey, how's it going, Jason?
It is going well. It is going well. How are you today?
I'm good. I am ready to go to prom.
Yes. Did
I
you?
I got my tuxedo t-shirt on because it's hilarious. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, here's my question for you. Did
Yes.
you, in fact, go to your prom?
I did go to my prom.
Excellent. Was it as good as this prom that they're throwing for the seniors of Pawnee?
No. Oh, Lord, no. Ours was like every other dance at any other time of the year. So, no, it was, yeah. But it was a small town prom, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. And so, again, probably like Pawnee, not a ton of budget, not a lot of extra funds for prom. And so, yeah, we just
Did you go to a barn party afterwards like Andy got invited to?
No, I didn't. There was supposed to be a bonfire, but because of the one that got out of control the year before, it got shut down. So it started as a barn party that turned into a fire. Anyway, it was a whole thing. How about you? Did you go to your prom? Were you a prom?
I did go to my senior prom, and because my wife is 1 year younger than I am, I went to her senior prom.
Whoa! Oh, the next year.
Yeah, it was a lot of prom in my life for 2 years there, and yeah, it was fine.
Prom.
I'm glad that I was able to go to prom with the girl who would become my wife, but it was also super expensive and kind of annoying. So, I grew up in a not small town, but not a big town, but not small. But it has a significant amount of Microsoft money around my town. So there's a lot of kids who were very, very fancy. And then me. So less that way. So it was fun. Fun times. But listener, thank you for joining us today. And, maybe you went down a nostalgia trip with this as if you went to prom or did not go to prom. And I would love to know your prom stories. Send us an email, parksandconversation@gmail.com with your prom stories, things that went great, things that went less than great. It'd be funny to reminisce together. So, but let's talk a little bit about this episode. It's all about the prom, and all the characters kind of follow the same trajectory throughout the evening. Mm-hmm. So there's really no reason to break it up into different plot points. A plot, B plot, C plot, all kind of coalesce into one thing. So maybe
that's not what prom's about. It's about coming together, not separating.
Exactly. And so while there are some tensions in this episode, those three major tension points, we'll kind of walk through them all together. So one tension is between Leslie and Ron trying to compete for Allison to serve as an intern or to get a paying job that Ron could help her get. And Ron is pro-capitalism and anti-government, and Leslie is pro-government and less capitalism. So, so there's that tension. There's also the tension with Ben and Tom as they are co-DJs for the prom, which sounds like a terrible job, co-DJs. And so Tom has to realize that he is no longer cool. And that's a good awakening moment for everybody when they come to that point in their life. And I am not cool. It's a good thing. And then the third tension point is between April and Andy, because Andy loved high school and had a super good time in prom and all that stuff, and April hated it all. But now fate has brought them together. And so how can Andy love it so much when April hates it so much? And so that's the third tension. And in that plot line, we also get to see Oren in another creepy experience. But you want more Oren, so that was
Always.
for you, Jeremy.
That was great. Yeah.
Good.
Well,
Good.
why don't you lead us
All right.
in this dance we call Parks and Conversation.
Let's do this. All right. So it starts out with Ben in his office opening the drawer to an explosion of confetti, which is terrible.
Now I want to stop you right there before we get too far. I really wanted the Hurt Locker ear ringing thing. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Like anytime there's an explosion on a show or a movie, and then everything goes like silent except for that one piercing note. Why didn't they do that here?
Well, do you think that would really fit the tone of a sitcom?
No, but I wanted it, so that's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
not at all. It would have been so out of place, but
it would have been so weird.
It would have been.
But I can see why you would want it. Just as a filmmaker.
He's like, I'm dying. It's like, yeah, I can't hear you. What's happening?
Yeah, I find that things with confetti and glitter are the worst. And so if I were Ben, I would be very tempted to say no to this invitation to prom, just because it's like, now you've given me a job to clean up all of this garbage.
Yeah.
And I have to get a suit. Ugh.
I think Ben has some suits. He's got a Batman suit. He's got options. This episode would have skyrocketed in my rating if he wore the Batman suit to prom. If he had went, but as a DJ, then, yeah, exactly.
Or even as the DJ, because Tom was going to wear that robot head. So
DJ Batman.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway, missed opportunity. So he's freaking out when it goes off, and Leslie is like, well, open the bottom drawer and read the cake. Will you go to prom with me? Is what the cake says. And so Ben is freaking out because he didn't think he would ever have to say this because, as it later says, they're approaching 40. He didn't think he would ever have to say yes to the prom. So, but Leslie reveals in a talking head that the merger has led to some budget tension. So they had to make some cuts. And the first thing to go was the senior prom. And also they're not teaching Latin anymore. So she volunteered to do that, which also means she has to learn Latin, which
you know Latin.
I do not know Latin.
Oh, I thought you knew some Latin.
I know some Latin. But
what's a good like word or phrase in Latin that we could use if we ever go to Latinonia? Where do you speak Latin? Nowhere
do you speak Latin.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about it. It is a dead language. It was the language of the Roman Empire, and they're long gone. And so unless you are going to a Catholic church pre-1962, you do not need to know Latin.
Okay.
So
good to know.
Yeah. So I know Greek, kind of.
I love Greek.
But I can't speak
baklava is my favorite.
Yeah, baklava is good. Don't get that confused with balaclava, though.
No. Well, it makes it harder to eat.
Yeah. Baklava is great. I love a gyro. I went to a Mediterranean kitchen in the mall with my son, and we ordered gyros. And I said gyro, and the person behind the counter said, all right, one chicken gyro. And I was like, never mind. I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's when you leave. You walk away.
I did eat it. It was good. But the dude wanted the gyro. I wanted the shawarma, which, I love shawarma. It's so good. So good. Anyway, so it was, that was fun times. So Leslie is organizing the prom for the high school seniors of Eagleton and Pawnee, and is one of the ways to kind of keep her mind off of Chicago and this job that's out there and that she's thinking about. And so, so Tom, Leslie's whole world right now in the last couple episodes is distract from the actual problems that I'm facing. So, which is kind of annoying. Personally, it's like, Leslie, just deal with it.
Which she normally does, and so Yeah. Once again, it's unhinged Leslie is not my most favorite version. I like when she's putting out fires creatively, even when things are absolutely nuts and she's acting frantic. But when she creates the problems, I've just never, because sometimes it goes against character, and I don't know. Yeah, it's bothersome to me, but I'll get over it. It's okay.
All right. Well, we only have a few more episodes left to get over it. So,
all right.
Prepare yourself. So credits happen. They're going to the prom. Credits hit. There's a conference room meeting, and they have the prom committee all getting together. And Leslie tells Tom that he's in charge of music, and Ben was kind of bummed because he wanted to do this. And then Leslie starts trying to be cute. And like, did you want to DJ, little puppy? And I did not like that at all. And I felt very strongly in agreement with Donna, who says, "You and boo." So it's like, y'all, I'm warning.
Based Donna. I love it.
Yeah, it was so accurate. And so Ben is like, yeah, I did DJ, and I had a show on the college radio station called Zoot Suit Wyatt, which
that's so great.
That is basically like worth the price of admission.
Yes.
So Zoot Wyatt,
possibly the best joke in the episode, in my opinion.
Yeah. I also love how the timeline, the time frame for his show is Tuesdays from 3 to 5 a.m.
That's peak swing time.
Oh man. And it's like, I was the king of swing. And Tom was just like, I thought we as a culture agreed to forget the year that everyone was into swing.
Oh, come on. Big Bad Voodoo Daddies, Squirrel Nut Zippers. And I think that was it. I think that was pretty much the two bands that was swing.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Jeremy.
Yeah.
How often do you go back and listen to that music?
Never.
Exactly. You have also forgotten.
I had totally forgotten about all of it, but then again, that wave of nostalgia kind of came through. I was like, man, I wonder what those Squirrel Nut Zippers are doing these days.
I don't know.
I should go check them.
I don't really want to know personally.
Go check them out.
Yeah, I think there was this evolution of music that was happening with punk turning into like a reggae punk mix turning into ska.
You're right.
And then all of the ska music was like, people were like, this is really great. And then people were like, hey, but what if there were more band members and it was a little bit more organized than a ska concert? And what if people knew how to dance
right
more than at a ska concert where they just flail? And that turned into swing or the swing craze, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because there was also that. Remember, that was around the same time. Like we kind of morphed into that lounge. Like there was all, but it wasn't good lounge. It was like covers of stuff, and like no one was really dancing to that. But it was like lounge in ska into like the lounge swing era, and then it just disappeared real quick. And what's really weird, like too, is like The Mask, Jim Carrey. That was all like swing themed.
Yeah.
Right? Like same. So that it was just this era. It was this weird, like, this is it. Okay. Yeah. And now it's gone.
It was a weird time for sure.
It's really bizarre.
But I think you mentioning lounge music reminded me of something. Now, listener, I'm a youth group kid. I grew up in the 90s going to youth group. And there was I cannot find it. I'm searching for this.
Are you talking about the lounge version of like Black Hole Sun and stuff?
No, I'm talking about the lounge version of like Jesus Freak.
Oh no, I do not know that one. Everything had a lounge cover at the time. Like everything.
It did. Oh my goodness. I cannot find who this person was. Oh man, it's gonna bother me forever. Lounge Freak. There it is. Hey now, found it. This is it. Yes. Okay. Oh man. Oh yes. Okay. The artist's name is John Jonas, and
he's the fifth Jonas brother or fourth.
And oh my goodness, yes, this is excellent. I need to find like the Lounge Freak on Christian Music Archive website .biz.
Leave it buried, man.
There's no time like duration for all these tracks is 0. So there's no one has taken the time to upload this to one of these internet providers of some sort. Is it available on Amazon? Oh, there it is.
Listener.
Oh man, it's
listener,
streaming.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll stop.
Jason's going to be off in Spotify. Like, I'll just take over. So from here, we got Smash Mouth and no.
Yeah. Anyway, there's so many bad decisions that happen in the late 90s music scene, and it like the motto of Jurassic Park like rings through. Like they spent so much time wondering if they could. They never asked if they should.
Well, and I think that's why Guy Fieri got such a bad rap for such a long time for his look, because I feel like he was just kind of like the embodiment of that era, like a little bit. And I know it's not swing and ska and all that, but like it was just like that guy, the bleach blonde tips and the upside down, and it's like
he's like Brian Stetzer's personal chef.
It's like, bro, we are so trying to just forget this. Can we move on?
Yeah, but he is Guy Fieri is a treasure. And,
yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, from what I've read.
Yeah, but just looking at him, I don't think we could hang out. It's like maybe just like wear a hat, bro. I don't know.
I mean, Welcome to Flavortown sounds like a swing album, right? Like,
oh yeah, I when I make something good, like yesterday, or something that I think is good, I took some leftover rice and some leftover brats, and I cut them all up and put them in a bowl and put some sriracha on it. And I was eating that by myself over the sink like a sad divorced dad. And I'm not divorced and I'm not sad, but this is what I thought. And the next thought I had was, welcome to Flavortown.
Population me.
It was so good.
Oh my gosh.
So where are we?
we're still in the first scene.
Oh, okay. We'll pick it up. So Ben and Tom are going to co-DJ, and then Leslie turns to Allison, who is a high school senior, and they start talking about organizing the theme around the thing, and so Allison suggests fairy tale because they have the sets from the last year's play, and she pulls out a binder, and Leslie's like, "Are those Jen's Trotter color tabs? I thought they were discontinued." And Allison talks about her Mexican back channels to order these things, and Leslie knows about this place. It's Juan Julia Oficina Supplies. and Ben just stops. It's like, what is happening right now? Because they're freaking out about binders and tabs. And so Leslie sends everybody off back to work. So then her and Allison can continue crushing it and talk about binder tabs and stuff. So Ben and Tom are they meet to talk about the music, and Ben wants to put a set list together, and Tom's like, no, man, all of them with no need. And Ben's like, what, you just going to put it in your iPod and put a shuffle? He's like, I could. You want to know why? Because every song's a banger. And so Tom then talks about his algorithm, his system to determine whether or not a song deserves to be on his iPod. So beats per minute drops, how dope are the drops? Are there any acoustic instruments used? If so, it's not a banger. And he even says he once downloaded a Lumineers song on accident and he threw away his computer just to be safe.
Come on, man. Lumineers are great.
Lumineers are definitely great. I enjoy their music, but I could definitely see how Tom would think they are some kind of threat to his life.
To his cred.
Yeah. Lumineers are the ones who sing Ho Hey, right?
Yeah.
Not Hey Ho.
No, that's the Head and the Heart.
Yeah. Ho Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they, Ben is like, well, I think it's less important because we're basically vibe curators. And again, Tom almost dies. And then Ben is so wonderful. He looks at Tom's like, I hope the high school auditorium is big enough because I'm bringing 10,000 maniacs.
Had a kid.
And it looks at the camera like, yeah,
nailed it.
And as a fan of 90s music, I was like, I appreciate this as well. So, so they're gonna do that. But Tom's embarrassed, and he's like, "We're not working together. You're now working with DJ Robodrop," and he puts on a Daft Punk style helmet and starts dancing around the room. So, yeah, Daft Punk is a DJ group. FYI, listener, if you don't know about Daft Punk.
Yeah, and you should check them out.
They're fun. Then Andy and April are talking about prom and how much fun Andy had, and the theme was "My Heart Will Go On." Oh my gosh! Just as he's listing all these things, it's like, oh, this was high school. The theme was "My Heart Will Go On." There was a Monica Lewinsky lookalike, and there was an after party at Megan Rickerson's house. Her parents used to let us drink as much as we wanted, and she's like, "That's where we should have a party." No, they moved to prison. And April is like, this sounds terrible. It's a bunch of people smiling, having fun, enjoying themselves. It's my worst nightmare, and I hate Punch. And Andy is going to convince her to go, and he starts by singing a song that he wrote to Sarah Weiss to invite her to prom. And the lyrics are, "You're as hot as the sun, but you're as cold as ice. Let me take you to paradise. Come on, roll the dice. It'll be twice as nice. Sarah, April Ludgate, will you go to prom with me?"
Boom.
So she agrees. And then she April, her agreement is, "I'll go with you because Leslie's making us, and we live together, and we only have one car right now because you laked mine." And Jerry's there. He's like, "What does lake mean?" "I tried to jump it over a lake. Why don't you stay out of our conversations, Larry?"
Will do.
Yeah, Larry. So they then go to the is this at the prom yet? No,
this is still at City
the
Hall.
office. Yeah, Leslie is talking about walking Allison through City Hall, talking about some different pictures and great accomplishments and all this stuff. And Leslie says, "I think you have a great knack for public service, and I wanted you to have the April Ludgate Summer Solstice Druid Festival and Buffalo Wings eating contest."
I am. Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds great.
It's a internship program, and she thinks April would be great. And Allison's like, "I'm thinking about it. Allison would be great." And she's like, "I'll think about it." And then Ron runs into Allison as well, and it comes to find out that Allison's father owns the hardware store that Ron's been going to since before Allison was even born, and so she. Ron looks at Allison and says, "What brings you to the festering, putrid stinkhole on the armpit of freedom?" And I was like, that's what he calls City Hall. And so she says, "I'm thinking about this internship." And I was like, "No, you are not. I respect your father too much to give you over to the government for free work. Let me help you find a real job," basically. So this creates that tension between Ron and Leslie. And Ron's like, "Look, I think I can get you a job at the sawmill." And we find out that he owes Ron a favor because he built the sawmill. So, so that's going to continue to be tension points moving forward. So Andy pulls up to April's house in a limo because it's a party. It's prom. You got to go in a limo, or as Andy says, legally they can't let you in.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he yells out "Class of '99," which is when I graduated. So it's like, oh man, so old. Oh man, so many ridiculous things about the limo culture. But he thinks everything inside the limo is free, and the driver's like, it's not.
It's not.
So then he stops drinking it. And so they go inside to meet April's parents because Mom wants to take pictures, and come to find out, Mom is Oren, dressed up as a woman to take pictures. And then Champion is Mr. Ludgate, and Oren is super creepy.
He looks like the mom from Psycho.
The dead one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does look dead. And so Orin, mom says, have her home by 11. And, and Champion comes out, and Orin's like, say goodbye to your father and bye, Dad. And Andy looks at Champion, says, good night, sir. So at the prom, Tom and Ben are setting up. And Tom is kind of annoyed because he requested a smoke machine, girls dressed in teddy bear costumes, Yeezus Mountain. I don't know what a Yeezus Mountain is, but he wanted all these things. Ben is upset because he requested elliptical cartridges for the turntables. So, because he wants to keep his Husker Du albums in near mint condition. Oh, Ben. And Tom's solution is, why don't you just throw those in the garbage?
Come on, Tom.
And, we come to find out, prom has a lot of baggage for several people in this situation, because Ben was kid president, or whatever John Ralphio calls him, of his hometown, but then he was impeached. So he wasn't really able to go to prom because he couldn't leave the house without being egged. And so his parents threw a prom in his living room. So, yeah. And then Tom, we find out he was only at prom for 15 minutes because he took so long to get ready that his date was pissed, but he looked pretty fly. So, so getting set up, and Leslie is there, and the principal is like, wow, you're doing great. This is A+ work. And Leslie, who lives for approval, is like, can we get that in writing? She really wants that A+. And Allison is like, wow, I can't believe he gave you an A+. Also, principals don't grade anybody. So, wow, annoying. So they are pretty excited, and Leslie's like, thank you for helping me orchestrate the balloon drop, and it's going to be so much fun. They take helium and they start talking back and forth to each other, and then Ron comes along, and he says hi to Allison, and he's like, I was subcontracted by the government to set up a lighting rig, and he offers to give Allison $40 for her help. And Allison's like, yeah, sure, $40, I can do that. And Leslie's like, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to take my intern. And she takes some helium and is like, I know what you're doing. I'll defeat you. Mark my words. And Ron, always practical, says, stop wasting helium. It's intended for welding and filling airships. And then we find out his baggage with prom. He took Susan Hoffler, picked her up in his truck, and they slow danced to a Merle Haggard song and left early because he had to go to a shift at the quarry. He was 12 years old. And then he never went again. Felt like he had outgrown it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then April and Andy come to the prom, and April's like, hey, we're here. I'm out. I did it. We're over. And Andy's like, no, look around. This is going to be so much fun. The bloom of youth, like flowers on the sunset of an eagle's poetry.
You gotta have wings.
Yeah. So April's like, I hate this. And he's like, you gotta give it a chance, like Expendables 2. This is just one of the best parts of this movie, of this episode as well, because Expendables 2 is not good. And he's like, first time I hated it, second time hated it, third time it was okay, but then fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh time I watched it, I realized something. It's not a good movie. So it seems like he got derailed in his own logic there. So Andy's like, look, why don't we go dance? And April's like, no, I'm going to go to the bathroom and check trash cans for babies,
Mm-hmm.
which is so sad.
That's where they hide.
So then as they are playing some music, Tom and Ben are playing, and he's trying to get everybody hyped up. And they're not really into it. One of the kids like, no one's feeling this. And they're like, you want 2 Chainz, Yeezy, Jeezy, Wheezy? You want Ja Rule? And the kids are just like, what? So then the kid says, the stuff you're playing is so old, it's probably Trinking on Grizzle Dump. And Tom has no idea what they're talking about. He's like, what's Grizzle Dump? So Tom is old, and he's not cool anymore.
And we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah. So Leslie then teaches Allison how to pull a cord, which is basically pull the rope. And Allison's like, I think I got this. So Leslie's trying to convince her, like, working for the government is not glamorous, but it's its own reward. And Ron's coming over, and Ron is coming to tell her, like, he's already got a job squared away for her. And Leslie's like, look, when you drop these balloons, look at the faces. And Ron's like, no, when you drop the balloons, look at the cage. And they fight back and forth about what to watch the faces or watch the cage. And then finally, Allison just pulls it down, and people are enjoying the falling balloons. And Allison is tense and running away. And Ron's like, Leslie's like, look, Ron, you ruined every prom. Nobody's having any fun. And it turns out everybody is having fun except for Leslie because
balloons, man. Balloons are fun.
Yeah, balloons are fun. Then we come back to Donna and April talking, and Donna saying, I didn't go to my prom. I was dating an older fellow back then. Like, I'm going to dance with a bunch of kids while he's coaching Duke to the Final Four.
I was writing in my notes, mention Mike Krzyzewski, just because, and I got as far as Mike K. Wise, and I just gave up after that. I don't know how to spell Krzyzewski.
Coach K. Yeah. Which is hilarious. It's like, because the only person that Donna could be talking about is Coach K.
Coach K.
So yeah, and April's like, I feel bad. Annie is having so much fun, and like cut back to Andy like dancing with all these kids. And she's like, how could I love someone when I hate everything he loves? And Donna's like, you guys love a lot. He loves a lot of dumb stuff, but he loves you the most.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like kind of a compliment. If you think about it, he loves a lot of dumb stuff, but he loves you the most.
You're the most dumbest.
So they are, so they're talking, and then some guy comes in, is like, to ask Donna to if she's ready to go, and Donna looks at him and is like, I feel like I told you to wait in the car.
Some guy? You mean Delwyn Burfig?
Was that who that was?
No, that's the credited name. Oh. Delwyn Burfig.
I was like, I don't know who that is.
with 2 G's.
All right. So now, oh man, you made me feel like I didn't know a celebrity cameo.
Oh, no. His actor name is Reese Kirk. That's his actor name, or
his actual name,
his IRL name.
His character name is Delwyn Burfig.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that in reading about Mike Schur is he loves coming up with ridiculous names. So Delwyn Burfig fits right in there.
Oh, there's some doozies in this one.
So Ron, cut back to Ron, and he's rejoicing because Tim Hotner is offering Allison to pay a job. So he's just getting off the phone. She's going to be assistant to the head mulcher. Which, wow, so great. And so the principal comes to confront Leslie and Ron, and they go to the office because they have both been harassing Allison about her summer employment decisions. And Leslie's like, I wouldn't say harassing so much as persistently tormenting.
Mm-hmm.
And the principal says, I'm disappointed in you, Leslie. And Leslie cannot handle this. Don't be disappointed in me. I've never had any principal or teacher be disappointed in me. And so the principal's like, whatever's going on between you got to just handle this. This is supposed to be for the kids. And Ron's like, you're right. I will bow out immediately. And then Leslie, so, well, let's make sure that whatever happens, A pluses that may or may not have been handed out, those are still in effect in perpetuity because that matters so much. So they both say we're going to not annoy Allison anymore about her summer plans. And then Leslie immediately gets on the platform to announce the winner of Parks and Recreation's coveted summer internship. It turns out it's Allison Guilford. And Allison did not like this at all, being called out like this. And Leslie's like, no, you're going to take this internship. You're going to fall in love with public service. You're going to rise through the ranks. You're going to take over Ron's job as park director. You want to see the Congress. And then you and I will run against each other as president. But right before we find out who won, I'm going to pat you on the back and say, it's your turn, kid. What a plan.
Which means that would have been Leslie's second term.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So Ron comes up, is like, sorry, children, forget this happened. Continue your awkward close quarters gyrating. And Leslie tells them, hey, if you have sex, use protection, please. And so Tom is not playing any music with all of this. And so Ben's like, I'm going to step in. And Tom's like, whatever, play whatever you want. It can't be worse than this. And then he plays some classic rock. And Jeremy, what is that song?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, man. I was hoping you would have looked it up. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Anyway, he plays, I feel like it's REM, but that's probably wrong.
No, I don't think it was REM. I think it was classic rock.
Jeremy, I have some bad news for you.
Yeah.
Classic rock now includes REM.
I know. And like so many other things that I don't even want to get into.
Judah and I were driving in the truck and listening to KZOK, the classic rock station. Mm-hmm. And Foo Fighters was on there.
Is the emphasis on the Foo or the Fighters?
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters.
They were playing some Foo Fighters, and I almost died, and which was good that Judah was driving. I was like, this is wrong. What is happening here? And so then Judah and I got into a conversation about like when do they start counting classic rock? And I had to tell him, sadly, someday, Judah, your favorite songs are going to be played on a classic rock station. And he was not ready for that either.
Is it 20 years?
I think it's usually about 20 years. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Pop song 89 is REM is played. They play Buddy Holly.
Weezer.
They play, by Weezer. They play
Blur.
Song 2 by Blur. And The Show Goes On by Lupe Fiasco.
Oh, it's probably one of Tom's picks.
Yeah. Ounce of Bounce performed by Boom Boom Room.
Tom. Yeah,
that's a Tom song. So they sorry, IMDb, the ads are just insane. The poster for the movie Beef is very interesting. So these kids love this classic rock, and Ben is like, yeah, awesome. Well, there's more where that came from, Snoopies.
Nope.
And Ben is playing everything on vinyl, and this kid, this pretentious high school senior, is like, I only listen to CDs. It's the way music like this was meant to be heard.
As he's spinning vinyl. Come on, man.
Oh man, it just is a reminder that there's always somebody who thinks they know exactly how anything is supposed to be done, and it starts young. So yeah. I remember moving from cassettes to CDs, mm-hmm. and being like, oh yeah, this is perfect. This is excellent.
I love carrying my CDs around on my hip and having it the song skip every time I take a step.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
This is way so better good. Than I never have to rewind.
Yeah. Oh my word. It was
finally.
Now I'm back to listening to vinyl and loving it, and it sounds good. But also, like, the main reason I listen to vinyl is like about every 25 minutes I have to stand up. So it's a health decision at this point.
Exactly. It's
more
good
than a audio quality issue. Is like, I just need to remember to stand up.
It's good for you.
So keep my record player out of arm's reach. So I got to move it around. So
yeah, it's crazy. Portable record players never really caught on.
Yeah, somebody in our church, they used to own an A&W restaurant, not just one can of root beer, but a restaurant.
Oh wow!
And they had a jukebox, and the husband died, and the wife was kind of clearing through their stuff, and I had posted that I had a record player, and so she was like, "Hey, I've got a bunch of records."
So you got all the 45s.
Yeah, just a bunch of singles.
Yeah.
And so I had all these, and
so now you can start your own stock hop.
I'm never going to do it.
Never?
No, never. And Jocelyn found them and was like, can I use these? I was like, for what? It's like, I'm going to use them as decoration on my wall. I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely. So she has them all like the different colors for the label, not the actual records. Those are all black, but the
Mhm.
labels have different colors, And so she's like, they look cool. I'm like, all right. Do you know who any of these bands are? Do you care? She's like, not at all. All right.
Perfect.
So, yeah. Anyway, I only listen to CDs. Now, like, oh my word, John Mayer, his latest record, Sob Rock, which is not a banger, but it's great. He released it on cassette as well.
Mhm.
I can't even with.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm not trying to be that guy, but like the indie bands and stuff, they've been doing cassettes for a while. Like it's never really went away. As you, and they always sell out. Like if it's a indie band that's doing like a vinyl cassette release, they almost always, because they're such limited runs.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, cassettes are still out there.
Crazy.
I'm just waiting for someone to come out with like the 8-track release. Like that's when you're really being hipster. Like nobody has 8-tracks anymore, or reel to reel. There's actually people who still listen to reel to reel.
I almost bought a reel-to-reel record console. Like I had a record player and a reel-to-reel and speakers, like a whole like furniture piece.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. They're huge.
They're huge, and I was so tempted. And the only thing keeping me from doing that was my wife.
I was gonna say, I didn't want to say it. She's like, no.
Who knows better than me about most things. So
I got one of those record player like buffet console things at a garage sale for, and I don't know if you can believe it, it was free.
mm-hmm.
It was only 300 pounds, and I loved it. It was great. It sounded terrible, and it was huge.
It was everything you wanted in the convenience of music.
Yeah, and it made a great table. But
hey, would you like to listen to music? Yeah, that'd be great. I can only do it in one room.
Come with me.
Let's go sit inside.
Come to my music room, please.
And we can only listen to this whole album.
Yeah.
And one of us is going to have to crank the side.
Also, you have to sit right here, or else it sounds poorly anywhere else.
Yeah. Entertainment. So.
Can I show you a slideshow from my Kodak? Let me get out my my screen.
Oh, my word.
This is my vacation.
Yeah, that sounds...
We went to Dave & Buster's.
For vacation?
No. I don't know. It just sound like a lame vacation.
Correct. Dave and Buster are two friends that you have. We didn't even have video games.
We had a great time.
We went to their house on our vacation to watch their slideshow of their vacation.
Here's some pictures of their pictures. So stupid.
Is that copyright at that point?
It's fair use.
Okay, perfect. We're supplying commentary. So Andy comes to find April and it's like, great news. We've been invited to Damian Keating's barn party. He's the captain of the soccer team and he has a fake ID. So you can get him all free beer. And Andy's like almost 30 years old at this point, right? So I was like, and April's not into it. And Andy's like, what's wrong? There's cupcakes and music. Why aren't you having fun? And April's like, this reminds me of how awesome and popular you were in high school and how I spent my high school years making fun of everyone and hiding mops so the janitor would think he was going insane. Mm-hmm. So April's having a hard time. And Andy is like, well, maybe we wouldn't have gotten together in high school, but that's because kids in high school are idiots, which is the most wisdom Andy has ever said. Like everything in high school is pretty dumb and they're pretty dumb. That's it. And he's like, what matters most is we found each other right now and it's the best. And so it's like, if you want to go, we can go. We got that limo for 3 hours still. And with that extra length, I think it could help us get over the lake. Andy. And so April's like, no, let's stay. I'll have fun. So they end up hanging out. And Ron then comes to Leslie and is like, I have a 10-point scale for how insane you are being. And if it's a 5 or below, I say nothing. It saves a lot of, I was like, that's smart. It saves a lot of time. If it reaches a 6, like for example, the incident with the girls' soccer uniforms back in 2005, and I was like, they wrote all the names in pink. No one told them to do that. But if it reaches a 6, try to steer back to safety. A 7, I lock you in your office until you cool down. This Allison Guilford thing may have hit an 8. I have the police on standby. So, and Leslie then says, look, I'm thinking about leaving Pawnee, moving to Chicago. I want to make sure that the future is secure. And Allison would become April, then April would become me. And she's like, listen, you're hopeless without me. And Ron, more wisdom here, like Ron says, blueprints for the future are a fool's errand. They're like blueprints for a house. Nice to have, but any foreman with half a brain doesn't need to look at them. So
who needs instructions?
Yeah, no. And Leslie is frustrated that he's so wise. It's like, I wish you could say something stupid so I could ignore it. And as they're having this conversation, the principal comes up to announce the prom king and queen. Turns out queen is Lucy Taylor and king is Andy Dwyer. And we find out that Leslie or April stuffed the ballot box and voted for Andy 1,000 times. So Andy gets up and he's like, not without my queen. And he brings April up and he's like, as your prom king, I am your ruler.
Everybody laughs.
And he's like, my first decree of powers that I would declare prom queen shall be my wife, April Ludgate, who was the best thing that's ever happened. And takes the tiara off of Lucy and puts it on April and looks at her as like, always next year. It's like, no, I'm a senior. Then the principal's like, how old are you? I'm 33. April says he's 33 and I'm 47, immortal. So principal kicks him out and Andy's like, high school forever. And so he looks at April like, are you having fun now? And she's like, I rigged an election and got kicked out of prom. So yeah, this is super fun. And then Tom, realizing how uncool he is like, my life is over. Might as well start wearing a plaid shirt and a tie and khakis and whatever shoes you're wearing. To Ben, who's wearing a plaid shirt, a tie, and khakis and whatever. So, and Ben's like, look, just because you don't know what high school are into doesn't make you uncool. It makes you a normal human adult. And hey, look at it this way. You're never going to be as old as me. Tom's like, yeah, you're right. You're old as bleep. And Ben's like, thanks, Ben. And Ben's just like, glad I could help. So then Allison goes and Ron go to apologize to Leslie. And this is when the credit scene comes up. And Leslie's like, you have so much promise. You're such a good kid. And she's like, whatever you choose, be amazing. And Allison's like, I admire you both. And watching all these happy faces, it was amazing. But it was also really nice to get paid for doing something. And Leslie's like, wow, you're so grounded. And then Allison says, oh, let me introduce you to my boyfriend. And turn around, reveal Allison's boyfriend is Greg Pekaitis. And Pekaitis is like, what's up? Nope. And Ron, Allison is so frustrated, or Leslie's so frustrated by this. You could see in her face. And Allison and Greg leave. And Ron's like, that's that horrible kid who used to prank us all the time, right? And Allison was like, offer's off the table. She's a terrible person with terrible judgment. Pekaitis. So.
Because I love it, like, offer is off the table. And then as she goes to run after her, that he had stapled her dress to the tablecloth. And so as she went away, everything fell off the table, literally. Yes. Oh, so good. And then he's just across the room and goes click, click with the stapler.
Yeah.
Pekaitis.
Excellent.
So good. Great joke.
What a great reveal. Bringing Pekaitis back around.
Yeah. The ultimate, like, she can't do any wrong no matter what, except for Pekaitis.
Yes.
The only other thing, when April, there's a extra who comes up to April and says, hey, where'd you get that dress? And she says, I'm buried in it. That extra's name is Cassandra Sassnorp. Played by Brittany Oakes. So good job, Brittany. But Cassandra Sassnorp. And every S sound that I made there is a double S. So for those of you who really want to write this down, it's SSASSANDRA. SSASSNORP. Sassnorp.
Cassandra. I've never even heard that name before. Like, it's not even close.
And then one of the other extras that came up when they were like, this music isn't very good. Her name was Daphne Dorolf. Dorlth. Dorlth. I love the name. They're so good. Delwyn Burfig, Daphne Dorlth, and Cassandra Sassnorp.
Oh my word, that's excellent. I wonder how these extras like prepare. Like, I need to get into Cassandra Sassnorp's
Character.
Like, what kind of childhood did she have so far?
Well, with a last name like Sassnorp.
What kind of sports is she into?
I don't. Yeah.
How many people has she murdered?
Track, probably.
Probably track. Yeah. Track's an easy one to get into. Just go outside, run around.
Or stand around. I don't think there's any rules.
There's no rules for track.
No rules. So, dude, season 6, episode 19 next week. Flu season part 2. Well, not part 2, but just
the sequel. As I was watching this week's episode, it rolled off right into the next one, and it starts with Andy like just sneezing like a crazy person. I'm like, oh, this is funny. So that would be like fake sneezing actually kind of hurts.
Yeah, because sneezing in general kind of hurts.
Yeah, and so I wonder like if he like hurt himself having to do that for so much.
That's why you have to stay in shape as an actor.
I guess so. Speaking of Chris Pratt,
yeah,
I am hearing amazing things about the Mario movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You saw it?
I did. Yeah, I took the girls to go see it, and it's a lot of fun. Don't expect a lot of deep like character development or anything, but for an Illumination movie, it was pretty well done. It was a lot of fun. A lot of Easter eggs hidden throughout, yeah, go see it if you want to have someone. And also, just throwing out there while we're talking about recommendations, go see Dungeons and Dragons if you haven't. That was a really fun movie. Even if you don't play, it's okay. Fantasy, adventure, action.
Yeah.
And Chris Pine playing the lute. I
will take that under advisement.
Yeah. So, tell us about your proms or not. And we'll talk about Flu Season 2 next week. I'm excited.
It'll be great. It'll be so good. So, all right, y'all. Have a good life. And I'll talk to you later, Jeremy.
See you, Jason. Bye.
Bye.